You feel drained, he said. Yet, that weight you added during pregnancy hasn't gone anywhere. Look at your tummy. Bameik, it's still big and round, and those stretch marks. Don't even get me started. A person's tummy be looking like zebra crossing. Bameik froze. Ubona, how could you say that to me? I had babies, for crying out loud. My body is supposed to change. I beg, he snapped. Are you the first to give birth? I've met women with 4, 5 children and you wouldn't even know. They look sharp. Have you heard this popular saying? That thing in between your legs will put you into trouble one day. I heard it a lot while growing up, especially when a man and a woman were quarreling about something. But I never really understood what the thing in between one's leg meant. Then I grew up and it became clearer. I understood that the thing referred to our genitals. Then again, I asked myself, how would a person's own genital get them into trouble? It was not still clear to me, at least not until I heard the story of a certain young man named Ubona. Then I fully understood. Ubona was an epitome of success, a true definition of a successful man. He was young, handsome and rich. He was an Igbo man, optimistic, driven and motivated by the poverty that had welcomed him right from his birth. His journey to success was nothing easy. He was born into the kind of poverty that would make a poor man look at you and call you poor. However, Ubona was determined and ambitious. He refused to accept the same hardships his parents endured and vowed to create a better life for himself and his future family. Ubona was an incredibly talented student right from his days at kindergarten, consistently ranking at top of his class, regardless of the kind of hardships at home, despite the fact that his parents lacked any form of education. Ubona excelled academically, driven by the belief that education could alter his circumstances. His father, Okoli, was a chronic alcoholic who spent the most part of his day drinking at the local bar with money he stole from his hustling wife's purse. He would drink most times to the point where he would spend the night sleeping comfortably in a gutter or anywhere the alcohol led him to. Okoli had not always been like this. No. He was once a hard-working and responsible man. But since that fateful night when his business, his entire life's worth, got swallowed in a fire outbreak in the market, Okoli had not recovered from the heartbreak. He sought and found solace in bottles. Ubona's mother, on the other hand, was the wheel that kept the family moving. She made a living selling food at the busy motor park. His mother's eyes saw shaggy. She worked from dawn till dusk, and so she decided to use her tongue to count her teeth. She decided to not have any more children after Ubona. Therefore, he was his parents' only child. Ubona attended the community primary and secondary school, and as a young boy with big dreams, he was focused and burned the proverbial midnight candle. After he wrote the compulsory West African examination, which marked the end of secondary school, he came out top in his state, a feat which won him a scholarship. The state government offered him full scholarship to study any course of his choice in the state university. That day was the happiest day his family had ever known in a very long time. His mother danced and shed tears of joy. Even his father managed to be sober all through that day. Something big had indeed happened in their home. That was the beginning of the journey to Ubona's success. Ubona chose to pursue a career in architectural engineering, left home and went into the world to pursue his dreams. His years in the university was not all rosy. There was always something that needed to be done with money. His mother supported with the little she could afford, but it was not enough to cover feeding, let alone buy books. But Ubona was not a lazy boy. He knew what he wanted, so he did any job available to make ends meet. There in the university, Ubona was faced with one big challenge: women. Oh, the girls loved him. Let's be real. Ubona was very, very handsome and extremely intelligent. It was only natural that the ladies would be attracted to him, as bees are to flowers. But the young man never gave them much thought. He organized tutorial classes for them, and they paid whatever fee he charged wholeheartedly. They would pay anything just to be around him. He secretly laughed at their antics until he met Bameik. Bameik was by all means a very beautiful girl, light-skinned, tall, slender, and had this beautiful hair which she always wore in a bun. They were in the same department, but Bameik had resumed almost towards the end of the first semester. The very first day she stepped into the lecture room, everyone stopped talking. The class fell silent. Her presence was captivating. Even Ubona was mesmerized. She took the seat beside him, and from there, the rest, they say, is history. Bameik was from a wealthy home. Her father was an oil magnate. They were old and new money combined, and Bameik lacked nothing. Despite their differing backgrounds, Ubona and Bameik found love blossoming between them. She knew and understood Ubona's financial status and still loved him regardless, even supported him financially all through their stay in the university. Fast forward to today, Ubona was now a wealthy man. He now owned a thriving business, all thanks to his beautiful Bameik and her father, who had trusted his intelligence, looked beyond his status, and connected him to high-class individuals who trusted him with their architectural needs. At 30, Ubona owned a house of his own, several cars, and was married to the love of his life, Bameik. His mother's cooking had been elevated from the local car park to a big restaurant in the heart of the city. His father had even started to drink less often. His life was exactly the way he wanted it to be, even better. There was no need to waste time, so as soon as Ubona and Bameik got married, they started planning their family. Ubona was an only child, and so he wanted as many children as his wife was willing to give him. And as for Bameik, she had no objections to that. She would do anything to make her husband happy. Luck was on their side. Bameik took in almost immediately, and they had a beautiful daughter. It was then that trouble started to sneak in gently. Motherhood came with its own load of responsibilities. Bameik tried her best to enjoy being a new mother, but it was not easy, especially as it was her first time. Her baby would sleep during the day while she cleaned, cooked, and tried to keep the home in order. But when it was finally time for her to get some rest, the baby would wake up, crying, and just like that, rest time was gone. Slowly, Bameik began to feel tired. not just in her body, but in her mind too. She was drained. What made it worse was the way her body changed after childbirth. She had added some weight, and her once flat, smooth tummy had refused to go down. She wrapped her stomach tightly every day, hoping the binding would help, but it did not. Then there was the stretch marks, thick and long. She hated seeing them. She bought different creams and soaps, but nothing seemed to work. They even seemed to make it get worse. Every time she stood in front of the mirror, she would touch her stomach and wonder if her body would ever look the same again. But then, whenever she looked at her baby girl, she smiled. Her daughter gave her joy, and in that moment, she would tell herself, "It's all worth it." While she was struggling with all these changes, Ubona was busy building his empire. He left the house early every morning and returned late at night, always tired. Bameik understood. She never complained. She wanted to be a good wife, quiet, loving, and supportive. All she prayed for was to raise good children and have peace in her home. Less than a year after they had their daughter, Bameik got pregnant again. This time, it was a set of twin boys. The family was happy. Everyone thanked God for the blessing. But to Bameik, it felt like double wahala. Caring for twin babies was very hard. She barely had time to sleep. Her toddler, Aria, still needed full attention too. The house was always a mess. The laundry piled up quickly, and she cooked and cleaned from morning till night. It was too much. She felt like she was losing her mind. She remembered how she and Ubona had agreed not to get house helps. They wanted to raise their children by themselves. But now the real work had started, and she realized that she couldn't do it all alone. One evening, she went to Ubona and said, "Please, I need help. I think we should get a maid." But Ubona didn't take her seriously. He looked at her and said, "What do you need help for?" Bameik sighed. "Ubona, there's so much to do here. You are never home, and when you are around, you are tired. I know we agreed to do this alone, and I know you are working, but I'm exhausted. It's draining me." That was the day Ubona really looked at her properly, and he was not pleased. His face changed. "You feel drained," he said. "Yet, that weight you added during pregnancy hasn't gone anywhere. Look at your tummy. Bameik, it's still big and round, and those stretch marks. Don't even get me started. A person's tummy be looking like zebra crossing. Instead of looking for a maid, maybe you should focus on getting back in shape." Bameik froze. She stared at her husband, shocked. "Ubona, how could you say that to me? I had babies, for crying out loud. My body is supposed to change. I beg," he snapped, cutting her off. "Are you the first to give birth? I've met women with 4, 5 children, and you wouldn't even know. They look sharp. So please don't use that as an excuse." His words crushed her. She walked away without saying another word, entered their bedroom, shut the door, and cried into her pillow. Her chest ached from the pain. Yes, she had money, plenty of it. Her father had given her a trust fund before marriage, and she could afford to hire a maid, even 2, if she wanted. But she did not want to cause a fight in her marriage. She had grown up in a broken home. She still remembered the pain and silence of those days. She had promised herself that her children would never experience that, even if it meant becoming a full-time housewife. After crying for a long time, she wiped her tears, stood up, and made a new promise to herself. She would find a way to look better, to get her body back. But deep inside, she did not know how she would do it. How could she, when she barely had time to rest? She was taking care of twin babies, a toddler, a husband who couldn't even wash his own socks because he was too busy. Cooking meals, cleaning the house, everything. Even brushing her hair felt like luxury. She could not remember the last time she had even had her hair done. Every night she collapsed into bed, tired and sore. Still, the next day she had to wake up and keep going. Ubona, on his own part, was not happy at all with the way Bameik now looked. The truth was, he didn't expect this at all. Yes, he had always wanted children, many of them. But now he started to doubt if he was really ready for the kind of responsibilities that came with being a father. For one, the babies cried all the time. Morning, afternoon, night. They wanted something, they were crying, they needed to eat, they would cry, they needed to sleep, they would cry. Someone was always crying, and Ubona couldn't stand it. The sound of their crying made his head hot. He told himself he was a busy man and that was why he wasn't around much. But the truth was that he avoided the house on purpose. He just did not want to deal with the noise and the mess and the stress. A man should have peace in his own home, he thought. Then there was Bameik, his once beautiful, slim, spotless Bameik. She had changed so much that sometimes Ubona struggled to remember what she used to look like. He had always liked beautiful, fair-skinned, slender women. That was what drew him to her in the first place. But now everything was different. Her body was fuller, her stomach was round, and stretch marks lined her waist and thighs. He found it hard to feel anything for her. He barely touched her these days. In fact, the desire to even touch her was no longer there. They hardly spoke like before. No more deep talks, no more laughter. He no longer took her out either. He liked to tell himself, to pretend it was because she had to stay home with the children. But in his heart, he knew the truth. He was ashamed to be seen with her in public. He hated to admit it, but this wasn't the woman he married. And the home he returned to every night did not feel like home anymore. Still, life went on. Day after day, the same routine. Then one day, something unexpected happened. Something that broke the boring pattern his life had fallen into. His former personal assistant had jackpot to UK with her husband, so a vacancy had been open for a while to fill that position. Apparently, the HR had found a suitable applicant, and that fateful day, he was introduced to his new personal assistant. Her name was MM. MM was a very beautiful girl. She had the kind of beauty that would make a man look back when he passed. She had a figure that would remind one of an hourglass, what you would typically call a figure 8, a full bosom, and to crown it all, a perfect height and a light skin. MM was totally aware of what she possessed, and she did not fail to flaunt it when the need arose. The first day she reported to work, she was surprised to discover that her boss was not as old as she had expected. In fact, he was still very young and handsome too. The other part of her started to bring forth cynical thoughts. She started to figure out ways to get him where she wanted him immediately. Ubona, on the other hand, was mesmerized by her beauty. Something in him told him to reject her outrightly and demand that he got someone else. But the thing in between his legs, that thing we were talking about, started to tingle, and he could not bring himself to do the needful. He went home that day, his new personal assistant on his mind. He could not deny the fact that she was breathtakingly beautiful, but he knew that he had to caution himself. He was a married man and he would focus on his family. However, was not going to make it easy for Ubona to focus. Even after finding out that he was married, she still wanted a taste of him. In fact, finding out that he was married only made her more eager to get him. She was so excited to tell her friend Ego about her new boss when she reached home that day. Ego, if you see this man, he is fine, clean. I could not believe my eyes. Omo, I thought he was going to be one pot-bellied man like that. Imagine the surprise I had seeing how young he is. Ha! If I let this one go, make I bend. Ego only shook her head. I thought you have changed, So, after your experience with Femi, you still have mind to go after a married man. Femi was different, defended. I was not smart enough then, and it's still a win-win because I cash out every month with our daughter. That girl is my ticket to continue milking him. He thinks he's smart. Ego was shocked. Now wow. Come, what is with you and these men? Why can't you just find a normal single guy and settle down? Laughed. And who says I cannot settle down with a man just because he's married? See, you are talking because you've not seen this guy. I want to get a taste of what his wife is enjoying. How can one woman have all that yummy goodness to herself? Ego wanted to try to talk her out of it, but she knew it was useless. Enjoyed going after married men. The hide and seek was an exciting game for her. She started dressing provocatively to work, swayed her hips with reckless abandon whenever she had to go to his office. Ubona started to feel uncomfortable whenever he was around him, but a part of him enjoyed the show. He liked the way her hips swayed when she moved, the way her full bosom popped out of whatever dress or blouse she was wearing. He thought to himself, damn, she's so hot. One Friday, at the close of work, he went to have a couple of drinks with his friends, as they usually did every Friday. And 2 glasses of beer after, all he could talk about was his new personal assistant and how beautifully endowed she was. Guys, if you see this girl, you go trip. Kai! The girl is fine. If you now see her waist when she's moving, hey! God created. He described her with so much fire in his eyes that his friends laughed out loud. Ike, one of his friends, hit his arm in laughter as he exclaimed, "Bad guy, you're a gone man, no? Shall remember that you have a wife at home. See, leave Bameik out of this, I beg," Ubona replied, a frown forming on his forehead. "But this girl is hot," he exclaimed, the fire coming back into his eyes. "You're just talking because you've not seen her. If you see this girl, she's fine like 50 people. But wait, Ubona, what do you want us to tell you now?" Ayo, his other friend, put in. "You're acting as if you don't want the girl, but you are sounding like you want her. Guy, you are confused though. Check yourself. You are now married. Hold your wife and lock up. All these girls outside are just there to finish you. Nothing they outside," he concluded. That's true, Ubona said. I'll just face my family, Jerry. All these girls are trouble. He stood up. Thanks, guys. We will see later now. And that was the end of that conversation. But even as he drove home that night, he was not thinking about his wife or his family. All he could think about was There was a small battle going on in his head. He did not want to be unfaithful to his wife, but the thing in between his legs told him otherwise. For the first time in a long time, he touched his wife that night, but even then, he kept his eyes closed and imagined it was Meanwhile, was not happy. Seducing her boss was becoming more difficult than she expected, but she could see it in his eyes that he wanted her, and so she was going to up her game. Ubona usually worked late on Thursdays so that he could work half days on Fridays and enjoy his weekend with his guys. On this Thursday, mapped out her plan. She did not leave when the rest of the staff went home. She waited for the right moment to strike. Ubona worked until it was past 8 p.m. that day. When he came out of his office about to leave, he saw that his personal assistant was still at her desk, her head on her table. Immediately moved with concern, he walked to her. Is everything okay there, She raised up her head from the table. Her eyes were red and swollen, as if she had been crying. His voice etched with concern. He asked, "What is the problem? Why are you still here? And why are you crying?" She looked at him, tears streaming down her cheeks uncontrollably. She could not talk. She just kept crying. Moved with sympathy, he offered to take her home. She quickly accepted. On their way to her place, she begged him to stop at a bar, claiming she needed a few drinks to clear her head. He obliged. A few shots of tequila later, she started acting drunk and spinning tales of how her fiancé had dumped her after being with him for 7 years and giving him a child. She started crying again. "I gave him 7 years of my life, had a child for him, and he still dumps me like that, just because his mother said so." Ubona pitied the poor and insisted he was going to take her home so that she could get some rest. With the help of her address and Google Map, he was able to locate her house, while she pretended to be drunk and asleep. When they reached her place, he offered to take her inside since she was drunk. All the while, Ubona strongly resisted the temptation to touch her, but she was not making it easy for him. The way she touched him and purred all over him did funny things to him. He promised himself that he was just going to help her into her bedroom and be on his way. His wife had called him several times, but he had not picked up her calls. He will attend to that later, he thought to himself. When he got into her apartment, she turned and leaned into him, pressing her body into him. He stood transfixed, and then she kissed him. That was all it took to break Ubona's strong resolve. She successfully seduced him, lured him to bed, and he fell harder than the mighty walls of Jericho. He went home that night feeling bad about what he had done. He got home very late and his wife was waiting for him with a worried look on her face. But immediately he set his eyes on Bameik. All the guilt he felt inside washed away. He told himself that it was not his fault, that he easily fell into temptation. After all, he was a man with needs that had to be satisfied one way or the other. That night, Ubona could not sleep. All he could think of was and how good she had been in bed. He could not remember the last time sex felt that good. He was still finding it hard to believe that she had even had one child. Her body looked so good and flawless. You could never tell unless you were told. He looked at Bameik snoring softly on her side of the bed. He wondered how long he could cope with seeing her after what he had just experienced that night. That night marked a turning point in his life and his marriage. The next day at work was awkward for him. He had never been with another woman other than Bameik, and he had no idea how to act when he eventually saw MM. However, MM had no intentions of letting last night slide. She not only had a mind of her own, she already had her plans in motion, and there was no going back. When she got to work that day, she went into his office dressed extra provocatively, pretending to thank him for his show of concern the previous night. And Ubona, as soon as he set his eyes on her, was already carried away by her looks, and all the thoughts of the previous night came rushing into his head. He was already a gone man and had fallen into her trap, hook, line, and sinker. Ubona worked late again that night. This time it was not because he had so much to do. No, he was weighing his options. A part of him told him to go home and resist whatever thing he had growing with MM. The other part of him wanted a taste of what it had the previous night. They thought long and hard. The other part won because as soon as he drove out of the office building, he found himself driving towards MM's apartment. She welcomed him very happily. Of course, she knew why he had come, and she was not one to waste time. She gave him another night of bliss. There and then, Ubona knew he could not turn away from this. It was too good to say no to. It became a routine. He was with her every evening, except the days he had long meetings with a client or a board meeting. And even then, on days like that, MM was always there by his side. She was his personal assistant after all. On such days, a fast quickie in his office or the backseat of his car would suffice. Bameik noticed Ubona had changed a lot within the twinkle of an eye. Not that he was ever home or available before, but it had gotten worse. He smiled more often these days, but none of that smile was directed towards her. He was always on his phone, even at the breakfast table, and she had caught him once or twice speaking in hushed tones in the bathroom. But the most obvious was the perfume. It definitely was not his perfume, neither was it hers. She could sniff that same perfume on all his shirts. She knew for sure that he was seeing someone, and that there was something serious going on between him and that someone. At first, she tried to ignore it, turn a blind eye to it. She told herself that it was only a matter of time before he got tired and the affair would pass. She kept quiet, focused on taking care of her home and the children. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. But Ubona did not stop. In fact, it did not look like he had any plans of stopping. Things had gotten worse. There were times he came home early in the morning without any explanation, only to shower and go off to work immediately. Her closest friend, Iyabo, urged her to confront her husband about it, but she refused. "Why are you doing this to yourself?" Iyabo asked. "That man is obviously spending time with another woman. He's having the time of his life, and you are here, stuck, unhappy and miserable." Bameik shook her head. "You don't understand, Iyabo. It's not his fault. I mean, look at me now. I don't even recognize myself anymore when I look into the mirror. Any man in his position would do the same. That's a sick thing to say about yourself, Bameik. Why are you making excuses for him? Listen, none of this is your fault. You had kids, for God's sake. That's the problem, Bameik interjected, tears now shining in her eyes. That's the problem, Iyabo. I had kids. My body cannot seem to snap back. I'm always so exhausted. I envy you a lot. Look at you. You have 3 kids, yet you don't look like it. You even get to go out at all and all that. I can't remember the last time I visited a salon. Iyabo's heart went out to her friend and she moved closer to her. First of all, Bami, every woman's body is different. Some of us don't need to do much to get back into shape postpartum, while others have to do a lot of work. And then there are some that just need to get some rest, eat right, sleep well, and slowly things would fall back into place. Do not compare yourself with another person. Besides, you don't even get the chance to take care of yourself. I've begged you to get a housekeeper or a nanny or something. You can clearly afford to pay for their services on your own. You have the money. I don't understand why you are bent on doing all this by yourself. Bameik shook her head. You know Ubona will not support it. We decided that I would stay home and take care of the house and our kids. If I do that, it will cause problems for us. It would look like I'm disrespecting him. Iyabo, my parents were divorced before I learned to spell my name. My mother left us without looking back. I know how that felt for myself and my brothers, and I don't want it for my kids. I want to raise them with all the love I've got. Do you understand how I feel? Yes, I do, Iyabo said, nodding her head. And that's the more reason you need to confront your husband. You have the right to know what exactly is going on. Bameik nodded in agreement. You're right. I have the right to know. I need to know. She looked at her friend. Thank you so much for always being here for me. Iyabo smiled. You know I'll always have your back. Just make sure you talk to him. She did talk to him, but it did not go the way she expected. It turned out to be a major disaster. The next day was a Sunday. They never attended church, and luckily for her, Ubona did not usually leave the house till sometime around 2 p.m. She served him breakfast. He ate while on his phone, obviously chatting with someone and smiling to himself. Bameik knew it had to be the other lady. She knew that smile so well, and it had not been directed towards her in ages. After breakfast, she set the children to watch cartoons while she went to meet him in the bedroom. He was still tapping away on his phone. She cleared her throat to get his attention. It worked because he finally looked up at her for the first time since morning. We need to talk, Ubona, she said calmly. Ubona looked at her like he was being disturbed. Is it very important because I'm in the middle of something? Anger boiled inside Bameik, but she had a tight rein on it. Her resolve became stronger. No, it cannot wait. We need to talk now. He dropped his phone. Okay, I'm listening. What is it? I want to know. What is going on? Are you having an affair? She asked. Ubona panicked for a while, but recovered immediately. Why would you think that? Don't play me, Ubona. It's a yes or no question, she answered angrily. He put on his defense armor, the whole armor of a warrior in battlefield. And I said, Why would you think that? She laughed bitterly. Why won't I? You barely come home these days. I have noticed a particular perfume that does not belong to you or me on your clothes for months now. You are always on your phone when you are here, tapping away and smiling to yourself. You don't even look at your kids anymore. And to make matters worse, you have not touched me in 6 months. She frowned as if realizing something. Did I say touch? You have not even as much as looked at me. I'm not a fool, Ubona. If you are not getting it from me, then you are getting it elsewhere. So answer me, are you having an affair? What if I am? He said casually. I mean, a man in my position would. Look at you, Bameik. Take a good look at yourself. Would you be attracted by you? Bameik was shocked. What is that supposed to mean? Exactly what it means. You look unkept. Your tummy is so round and flaccid. The stretch mark looks like zebra crossings. I cannot even go out with you. I would die of shame when others showed their wives. There is nothing exciting to look at in that body. So forgive me if I indulge myself. Bameik was petrified. I can't believe you, Ubona. I was not like this when you met me. I carried and birthed your children. So forgive me if my tummy bears the evidence of what it went through. Pardon me having zebra crossings on my tummy because it stretched so much to accommodate your children. Oh, stop it, Bameik. You are not the first, neither will you be the last to have children. It's not an excuse. You are just lazy to work on yourself. Work on myself? She interrupted sharply. When would I even get the time to do that? I'm so busy taking care of you, the kids, the house. I cook, I clean this big house, do your laundry, iron your clothes, and you don't even appreciate it. I have not been to a salon in over a year now because I don't have the luxury of time to do that. Ubona laughed. You count all the things you do and make it sound like something extraordinary. You cook and clean and sew. That's your job as a wife. You wash with a machine. And how difficult can it be to care for 3 children, toddlers for that matter? Bameik shook her head. It's easy for you to say. Look at you. Nothing about you has changed. You go out and come home to meet a clean house, a warm bed, food on the table, clean clothes, well-fed children. You have no idea what goes on behind the scene to achieve that. She looked at him in the eyes. You think I'm not what you bargained for in a wife. But guess what? I feel the same way too. You are not the husband I married. You are not the husband I dreamed of. Ubona got up angrily, picked up his phone, car keys, and stormed out of the house. Bameik did not say anything to stop him. She slumped on the bed and cried to her heart's content. Ubona was angry. Her last words had struck a nerve. He drove like a madman. He had one destination in mind. He had to see He needed to vent. Knew something was wrong the moment he stepped into her apartment. Baby, are you okay? She asked, her face etched with worry. How dare she say that to me? Telling me that I am not the kind of man she dreamed of, when clearly she's the one at fault. Okay, said, looking confused. I don't understand what you're saying, but I guess it's wife problems, right? I can't stand that woman. I mean, yes, she had kids, but is that a reason to look like that? She has put on a lot of weight. Her tummy looks awful. Stretch marks everywhere, hair unkept, nails undone. There is nothing attractive about her anymore. I can't even bring myself to touch her. Is it my fault that I don't feel anything when I look at her? Look at you, You've also had a baby, but you still look stunning. I wouldn't even know if you did not tell me. I did not even believe it until you showed me photos of her. So why is Bameik feeling like she has solved the world's hunger problems just because she had children? Was not just surprised by the things he said about his wife. She was shocked. How could a man be this insensitive, she thought to herself. But then she saw an opportunity she could not let pass her by. Whoever his wife was, she needed to be rid of him anyways. She put on her charming smile. I don't like to see you getting yourself all worked up over something like this, babe. You know that I'm always here for you, ready to take your stress away. If that woman is stressing you, why not let her go? Yes, divorce her and we can be together forever. Ubona shifted uncomfortably. That is going too far, I cannot divorce her like that. I mean, what about my kids and all the years we've been together? Should have seen Bameik before all this. Even you would love her. She was so beautiful, slender, tall, beautiful fair skin. Moved closer to him. That is the same thing I'm saying. You are no longer attracted to her and you're crazy about me. Let her go and we can be very happy together. Ubona shook his head. It's not that easy now, I don't want to divorce her. Mm's face hardened. So, you are not attracted to your wife and won't let her go? What then does that make me? Your object of pleasure? Your plaything? Your go-to when you need release? Oh, come on, Ubona pleaded. You know I really love you, Then prove it. She fired back. Prove to me that you love me, Ubona. I won't be treated like a second choice. Ubona was torn between choices. I love you, but I cannot just divorce Bameik like that. Fine, she fired back. Then whatever this is between the both of us, it's over. Please, babe, Ubona pleaded, don't do this to me, to us. This is not on me. It's on you. Make your decision. You have to choose. It's either me or her. Ubona stared at her for what felt like an eternity. His head felt like it was going to explode. He needed to think, to clear his head. He stood up abruptly, picked up his keys and stormed out of the house. He drove out of Mm's compound. His head was in serious turmoil. He did not want to divorce his wife. Neither was he willing to let go of He drove into a bar instead and thought about it some more over bottles and bottles of very cold beer. Still, the coldness was not chilling the furnace, threatening to melt out his brains. It was almost 8 p.m. by the time he returned home, and as usual, Bameik had his dinner arranged on the dining table, but food was the least thing on his mind. All he wanted to do was sleep. He went straight to bed, but even the sleep eluded him. The thought of what had said earlier still troubled him. Finally, he decided that would finally come around. All he needed to do was give her a few days and things would go back to the way they used to be. Unfortunately, it was not so. Was serious about what she had said. She came to work, did her job in a strictly professional manner, and acted like there was nothing between her and Ubona, even when they were alone. She did not take his calls, neither did she return his messages. 3 days passed and Ubona knew she was serious. He felt like he was losing his mind. He had become so addicted to their daily shenanigans that going for days felt like torture. Things at home were not any better. His issue with made him so frustrated that the sight of Bameik was enough to make him angry. They had not spoken since Sunday. On the night of the third day, he could no longer endure it. He left his house and drove straight to Mm's place. "What do you want?" asked sharply as soon as he walked in. "Babe, are you really serious about this divorce thing? I mean, come on. I can't just leave Bameik and my kids like that. Please reconsider this." Smiled and shook her head. "You are just confused, Ubona. You want to keep your family and have me at your beck and call to satisfy the needs your wife cannot satisfy. What does that make me? Do you think I don't want a family of my own someday?" "I know," Ubona interrupted. "We could build our own family and we don't even need to be married to do that. We will be very happy together. You are my happy place, Come on." "Ha!" laughed. "I will not settle for less, Ubona. If you cannot man up and do the needful, then go back to your shapeless wife and forget that all this happened. In fact, I don't think we can work together anymore. So first thing in the morning, I will tender my resignation letter. We are done." No, don't say that." "Okay, fine. I will divorce her. I will, I promise," he pleaded. "When?" asked sharply. "I'll speak to my lawyer tomorrow. Are you happy now?" Smiled. She was happy, of course. Her plans were falling in place. However, she refused to give in to his advances until she had proof of the divorce. So he went back home more determined than ever to carry out his plans. Bameik was still awake doing laundry by the time he returned home. He thought to himself that if he was going to do this, he needed to start right away. "I want a divorce," he said without warning. Bameik stopped what she was doing and looked up at him, shock written all over her face. What did you say?" she stammered. "I said that I wanted a divorce," he repeated. "You want a divorce?" she repeated coldly. "It's because of her, right? Bameik, you and I know that this is not going to work. We are not compatible. This is the best for the both of us and the kids." Anger boiled through Bameik. "Don't you dare mention my children. You don't know what is best for them. You know how much I hate broken home. I have obeyed you and endured all the stress and attitude I get from you because I want my children to be raised in a stable home with both parents. And here you are, telling me that breaking our home is best for them." "Look, Bameik," he said, "you are not happy. I am not happy either. We don't want them growing up in a toxic environment. I have my own desires and I'm sorry to say, but you're not it. I want..." Bameik held up her hands. "Save it, Ubona. You want a divorce? Fine, go ahead. But let me tell you, there is more to marriage and love than what you think it is, Ubona, and I hope it's not too late when you realize this. Let me know when the papers are ready. I'll sign it. I'll move out with the kids tomorrow." Ubona was surprised by her reaction. He had expected her to cry and beg, but she did no such thing. Why are you in such a hurry to leave? You know that you can take your time." Bameik smiled. "There will be no need for that. The day we got married, my father held my hands and said to me, 'My dear Bameik, any day you no longer feel loved, wanted, or needed, I want you to know that you have a home where you will always be loved and wanted. Please come back home. I never believed that a day like that would come. Unfortunately, that day has come, Ubona. That night, Bameik locked herself up in her children's room and cried so bitterly. She cried until there were no more tears to shed. She started packing immediately. She packed her children's clothes, toys, her clothes, anything she could remember to pack. Ubona sat in the living room watching her move from one room to the other. He wondered if he was doing the right thing. His head told him that it was wrong. But you see that thing in between his legs? It had a mind of its own and its voice was louder. The next morning, Chief Owodele, Bameik's father, was the one to wake them up. Bameik had called to tell him what was going on the night before. Chief Owodele was a busy man, but never was he too busy for his Bameik. She was not his only child. He had 4 sons abroad, but Bameik was the apple of his eyes, and he would do anything for her. He arrived that morning in a fine black Tundra truck, which had enough space to accommodate his daughter's belongings. But first of all, he wanted to hear Ubona's side of the story. Ubona sat uncomfortably in front of Chief, unable to say anything. "So, Ubona," he said in his thick Yoruba accent, "so my Bameik has not disrespected you or disregarded you in any way. You just don't feel attracted to her anymore, is that correct?" Ubona remained silent, unable to meet Chief's gaze. "It's all right," Chief said, getting up. He looked at his daughter. "Let's go." Bameik took her children and moved with her father. As soon as they left, Ubona breathed in a sigh of relief. It did not go as bad as he had feared. He met his lawyer Michael, who also happened to be his close friend, and Michael did not buy it. He was furious. "Are you insane, Ubona? Wait, how did all this get to this point and we did not know? Like, you have been seeing this your PA, and it has gotten to the point where you want to divorce Bameik for her? Guy, come on," Ubona urged. "You won't understand. Bameik and I are not working. Like, I can't stand the sight of her. I can't get turned on by her anymore. She just suddenly changed. You know how I feel about my woman being slender and curvy and all that. Bameik is not cutting it." Michael shook his head. "I'm so ashamed of you, Ubona. In fact, I feel that husbands all over the world would be ashamed of you right now. That woman has been there for you all these years. Then she had kids and her body changed, and so what? It's normal, it happens all the time. Not all women are lucky enough to go back to their original size and shape after having kids. It's your job as a man to help your wife get back into shape. Besides, I've seen Bameik recently and she doesn't even look so bad." "Ha!" Ubona laughed. "It's because you've not seen her without clothes on. Her tummy looks awful. She has..." Michael held up his hand. "Stop it. I don't want to hear it. You're disgusting, Ubona. And you're right. This divorce is necessary. She does not need a mean person like you for a husband." Michael drafted the divorce papers and had it sent to Bameik in her father's house. She signed it without argument. She demanded nothing from Ubona, not even child support. She was so broken on the inside that she wanted nothing to do with him ever again. In less than a week, the divorce was finalized, and Ubona was now a free man, free as a bird to do whatever he wanted. As soon as everything was finalized, moved into the house, and in less than a month, they had a small private wedding, and she brought her 5-year-old daughter Amanda to live with them. The first 1 week of their marriage was pure bliss. They went out on a family vacation, visited places, made passionate love, took beautiful pictures for the gram. Ubona flaunted his new wife and her perfect body with reckless abandon, wondering how he got so lucky. Their vacation soon ended and they came back to the real world. It did not take long for him to realize how different things will become. Was a good cook, therefore cooking was never a problem. In fact, she made the tastiest meals Ubona had ever had. However, housekeeping was not her forte. She had stopped working as soon as she got married to Ubona, and now she enjoyed the freedom that came with not working and having a lot of money to spend. Weekdays were for shopping, hairdos, manicure and pedicure, while weekends were for partying with her friends. Ubona was not comfortable with her lifestyle, and each time he tried to call her to order, it always ended with both of them shouting at each other. Ubona was deeply concerned, but then he had no one to talk to about what he was facing, and their marriage was less than 1 month. As if that was not bad enough, his laundry piled up until one morning there was nothing to wear to work. No underwear, no crisply ironed shirt, nothing. Ubona blew hot that morning. What is the meaning of this, Why don't I have anything to wear? My underwears are dirty, all the shirts are dirty, there's nothing neat in my wardrobe. Why? Acted confused. I don't understand, Ubona. Why would you be asking me such a question? They are your clothes. You are the one who wears them, so you should know the right time to do your laundry. Ubona was taken aback. I should do my laundry? What exactly do you do in this house? You obviously don't clean because the house is in a horrendous state. You cook and don't do the dishes until they become smelly and develop mold. And you cannot do my laundry? Laughed out loud. Wait, Ubona. Do I look like a maid? Like, me alone, I alone is supposed to do all these with my nails and all, and still cook for you, be ready to warm your bed when you return? What's the big deal, Bameik did all of that and cared for 3 children without breaking a sweat. Smiled. And you wonder why she looked like that? No, she did all that. Well, I am not her and I will never be. If you want your house spick and span, your laundry done and all that, then get a maid. You and I know that you can afford it. Ubona started doing his laundry. After 1 month, he could not keep up. He was forced to get a housekeeper. Months passed. Ubona suggested to that it was time for them to start trying for kids. I wanted a lot of kids, he said one night after a passionate lovemaking. Now, my ex-wife is gone and you're here now. I think it's time for us to start making beautiful babies. Burst into uncontrollable laughter. What's so funny about that? Ubona asked. Of course it is funny. Why would I want to have a baby for you? Yes, I know we are married and all, but I cannot put my mental health on the line. Let's say I pop a couple of kids and ruin this beautiful body. What then happens to me? Her words were like a slap to his face. He was speechless. He quietly turned and faced the other side. That night, sleep did not come. He thought about Bameik and wondered if he was really as bad as everyone thought him to be, including the person he had done it all for. He wondered if he had made a bad decision. However, it was too late to cry over spilled milk. Things got worse with each passing day. They always had something to quarrel about. His house became a small-scale battlefield, WWE, wrestling ground. Ubona got tired of all the drama. He wished he could rewind the hands of time, go back to when he had a peaceful home and a peaceful life. But the worst had not even happened. One morning, he got a call from his account manager to confirm the closing of one of his accounts. Ubona was surprised. What do you mean by that? I did not initiate that. What's going on? Well, sir, the man replied, there has been a recent consistent withdrawal of funds from one of your current accounts. Last night, another transaction of 1 million was initiated. That's all that is left in that account. If we proceed with the transaction, the account will automatically be closed, as there will be nothing left in it. Do we proceed or cancel this transaction? Ubona's head was spinning. What account is that? The man on the other side called out the account and the account details, and he knew exactly who was behind it. Cancel it and block the card linked to that account immediately, he said coldly. His head was still spinning after the call. He had given one of his cards so that she could make her expenses, pay the household staff at home from there. But how foolish had he been? Had been busy pushing out money from that account and he did not know? How? How did he not know? He should have gotten debit alerts. He quickly went through his phone. Nothing. It meant one thing. She had planned this carefully and erased the debit alerts from his phone. He wondered what she wanted to do with all that money. That account had 50 million in it. And now all that was left was 1 million. He needed to find out what was going on, and there was only one way to find out. Ubona stormed out of his office and drove like a madman, being chased by evil spirits. But when he got home, he met the biggest shock of his life. Was gone. So was her clothes, shoes, everything, including her daughter's things. There was no trace of her anywhere. His eyes fell on the dressing table. She had left a note. He picked up the note with shaking hands. It read, Dear Ubona, by the time you will be getting this letter, I will be long gone, well on my way to a faraway country. Don't bother looking for me because you will not find me. I'm sorry I had to live like this, but I cannot be with a man like you. I cannot trust you to be true to me, not after what you did to Bameik. You want me to be her with a touch of slay mama, and I am not cut out for that, at least not for someone as selfish as you are. Before you think about going to my people, the people you think are my parents, don't bother. They are fake. I paid them to act as my parents. Don't think I'm evil. I'm not. I'm just a young woman hustling to survive, and I don't miss an opportunity when I see one. My friend thinks I was a bad person for making you divorce your wife, but I'm sure that by now, Bameik would have realized that I did her a favor, because a man like you does not deserve her. Goodbye forever. The letter was simply signed, Ubona slid to the ground, tears blurring his vision. He had been played, and it was all his fault. He realized how terrible he was to Bameik and how he had lost his family just because of his selfishness. He had let his manhood control him, and here he was, swimming in a pool of regrets. Ubona could not step out for days. His phones rang continuously. He did not pick. All he could do was drink till he passed out, and then drink some more when he woke up. He wanted to call Bameik, But he knew she would never forgive him, not after all the demeaning things he had said to her, not after the way he treated her. He wished he could just go back and do things differently. But it was too late to do that. After days of drowning in sorrow, he got up, had his bath, and ate. He had made up his mind. He would go to Bameik and beg her for forgiveness. He had wronged her greatly, and if he had to lie down and beg, then so be it. First of all, he went to Chief Owodele's office, and luckily for him, Chief was on seat. Chief did not look as surprised to see him. If he was, the man did not show it. "What do you want, Ubona?" Ubona prostrated before Chief. "I want to apologize for the way I behaved towards you and Bameik. I was such a fool, and I have realized my mistake. Please, Chief, I have come to plead that you forgive me." "Ah, seems the new marriage did not go as expected," Chief said sarcastically. "As much as I feel upset about all that happened, it is not in my place to forgive you, Ubona. You hurt my feelings, but it was my daughter's heart you broke. If she forgives you, then so be it. But if she doesn't, then I don't want to see you anywhere around my property. If I do, you will wish you never met me." The deal was fair enough. He could not blame the man. Ubona made his way to Chief Owodele's state-of-the-art mansion, his heart beating fast. He feared the worst, yet hoped for the best. Bameik was surprised to see him, and so was he. She looked better than the last time he saw her. She had lost some weight, and her face seemed brighter. "What do you want?" Her voice cut through his thoughts. "Hello, Bameik. Would you at least let me in?" he said weakly. "What do you want?" she asked again, her tone sharp. Ubona went down on his knees. "Please, Bami. I know I do not deserve your forgiveness, not after the way I treated you, not after the horrible things I said to you. But please forgive me. I have realized how terrible a person I am. Trust me when I say this, I regret everything I did, every decision that brought us to this point. I regret everything, and I have learned my lesson." Bameik shook her head, trying to hold back the tears threatening to fall. "She left you, didn't she? That's why you're here." "I won't lie to you. She did leave me. She played me. She said I was a terrible person and did not deserve you. And yes, she was right. I do not deserve you. You said once that I was not the kind of man you dreamed of. I was not the kind of husband you had hoped for. And I agree. You were right. But here I am, a changed person. I want to start all over from scratch. Be a good lover, a good husband, if you will have me, and a good father to our children." Bameik's heart was beating fast. The truth was that she still loved Ubona. She always would love him. And if she had any intentions to let him back into their lives, then she had to be sure he was ready to put in the work. "How do I know you have changed? You have never even checked up on your children in months. How do I believe you are capable of even being there or caring for them?" She replied calmly. Ubona stood up. "Bami, this man standing before you is different now, and I will do anything to prove that to you." She smiled mischievously. "Anything?" He nodded. "Fine," she said. "You will have the kids in your custody over the next week. You will care for them, make sure they are fed and clean the house, do the laundry, cook, and do the dishes alone. And you're not allowed to complain. I will be there to supervise, of course. Ubona agreed immediately. How hard could it be? The first day was hell. The children were disorganizing everything as soon as he finished organizing. They fought and cried over everything. He could not count how many times they needed to pee, how many times he had to clean poo off the floor because he did not get the potty signal. He was cooking, attending to their unending demands, trying to soothe the one crying for reasons he could not understand. He ended up burning dinner and had to go out to buy takeout from a fancy restaurant, of course with the kids. By the time it was bedtime, he was beyond exhausted. He managed to put the kids to sleep and passed out almost immediately. Sometime around midnight, Bameik tapped him. One of the twin boys was crying. He wanted water. Just after attending to that one, the other one was up too. He needed water too. And after that, his daughter was up. She needed to pee. By the time he put them back to sleep, his head was banging. He could not open his eyes until 10 a.m. the next morning. By then, Bameik had already made breakfast for her children. He went to where she was sat, feeding the children, and fell on his knees before her. I'm sorry, Bami. I'm sorry I never appreciated you. I never gave you the credit you deserved. How did you survive all this every single day? Yesterday was the toughest day of my life, and I saw clearly how uncaring and selfish I was. Please, Bami, give me another chance, one more chance, and I will spend every single day making up for all the pain I have caused you. Bameik shook her head. I still have stretch marks, Ubona, and my tummy still looks quite round, she blurted out. I don't care about any of it. God, I was such a terrible person. I don't care about the stretch marks or anything. All I want is you and my babies. I want my family back. You can get any number of helps you want. I don't care, as long as you are happy. I've missed you. I've missed the peace you bring with you. Anyways, long story short, Bameik forgave Ubona. They started all over again, had another fancy wedding and 2 more babies. True to his words, Ubona had changed. He was now a good husband and a better father. He now even helped around the house and did school runs. Can you believe it? However, he still loved his woman, Slender, and that was why he enrolled Bameik to a gym and got her a gym instructor. Bameik got 1 nanny and 1 housekeeper. Life became easier for her. She was happy, he was happy, and they lived together happily ever after. This story is dedicated to every mother out there. I want you to know that you are a superwoman. Your body is not perfect as you want it to be. Don't be so hard on yourself. The stretch marks make you feel uncomfortable. Don't sweat it. It's a testament of the beautiful life that came through you. You have a scar. Own it with pride. It shows how strong you are. Keep crushing it. And to every amazing husband and responsible father, you are our hero. We are blessed to have you, and we will not take you for granted. And also the Ubonas, just like him, you can do better. I love you all, and I will see you in my next video. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, drop a comment, and subscribe. Bye.